Hello, this is going to be the first of a series of videos on Sumerian and Mesopotamian iconography. I thought it would be interesting to take a look at the deities that we talk about on this channel and look a little bit at the art and how they are represented. To start things off, we'll look at the Adda Seal. Seal impressions come from cylinder seals. These cylinders were very small, only a couple of centimeters tall. The Adda Seal comes from approximately 2300 BCE. It is presently in the British Museum, item number 89115, so 89115. On the seal, we see an inscription. The inscription doesn't have anything profound other than telling us that the seal belonged to Adda the scribe. The seal was originally found near the city of Sippar. On the far right of the image, we see the two-faced god that is the minister of Enki. The distinctive features of this minister are that he has two faces. No other deity from this time period that we see has two faces, so we can say, hey, this is the god Izamud. He is the minister of the god Enki. Generally, when we see Izamud, we're going to see Enki nearby. And that's who we definitely see right to the left of him. So, next to Izamud, with the streams of water coming out of his shoulders, that's Enki. Enki is the god of fresh water. The two streams coming out of his shoulders with fish in it represent the Tigris and the Euphrates. Enki is shown here with a bird and a calf of some sort. The bird might be an Imdugud/Anzu bird. This bird is often associated with Enki in the myths that we see, but not directly associated. So it might not be the Imdugud or Anzu. It might simply be a bird that is associated with Enki that we don't know much about. The calf, here we see a kneeling calf below his feet, shows that this is an animal that is associated with Enki. Enki is associated with a lot of animals. You can kind of get that when you look at this particular picture. You see fish, you see a bird, you see the calf. So the most animals are clustered around him. Something you'll notice from all of the figures in this image is that they wear the Horned Helm. The Horned Helm is one of many symbols of divinity. You'll notice that there is some texture on their garments. That is representative of reed garments. So you would weave garments out of reed, and these would be the common clothes of the day. To the left of Enki, you'll see a figure coming out of the ground. It looks like he's coming out from between two blocks with little curved shapes around him. He's got wavy lines coming out from his shoulders, and he's wielding what looks like a serrated knife. That serrated knife is a saw. The saw is the prime symbol that is associated with Utu Shamash. Utu is the Sumerian name, Shamash is the Akkadian name. He uses this saw to cut his way through the mountains because he is the sun god and he is emerging from the mountains in the morning. The figure next to him is a little unclear though. We know Utu because the wavy lines are very reminiscent of the heat waves that you might see coming off of the ground on a hot day, and we recognize the saw symbol, and him coming out of the ground makes sense for a sunrise image. But the female figure is a little bit confusing. This figure has been associated with the goddess Inanna. It has been associated with the goddess Ninhursag, but to be perfectly honest, we don't 100% know who this is. Now, the reason why it is connected to Inanna is because we see wings, the figure is female, and we see things coming out from behind the wings, which are reminiscent of the weapons that we see coming out from behind the wings in some Inanna images. But the lines coming out from behind her don't really depict weapons. And it's not a weapon in her hand either. It looks like it might be some sort of plant. So we can potentially ignore Inanna as a candidate for this goddess. We know it's a goddess, of course, because of the horned helmet. The wings, initially you might think that they are more significant than they are because none of the other figures here have wings. But we frequently see gods and goddesses have wings or not have wings, and they're very hard to use as pieces to identify a figure. What we do in some cases when we don't have a firm idea of who this might be is we take a guess based on the location that the image was found. In this case, it was found near the city of Sippar. The chief god of Sippar is Utu. His Akkadian name, again, is Shamash. His wife is the goddess of light, Sharida, Akkadian Aya. Sharida makes sense as an identification here. If the lines coming out from her back are light rays, and we see her with wings, indicating maybe she's in the sky or high above the sun god, and he is very close to her in this image. So those two figures might be related, connected somehow, like husband and wife. For my money, if I were to make a guess on the identity of this particular figure, it would be Sharida Aya. To the left, we have another confusing figure. He is a deity with a bow and an arrow, and perhaps a spear behind him. His clothing is less textured than the reed clothing of the other figures in the image, and he is positioned next to a lion. He might be one of a number of storm gods. He might be a god of war. He might be one of the hero gods. To be honest, we don't have enough to even take a guess here. If the lion next to him is significant, then it might be the storm god Ishkur. But my guess would be that this is not the storm god Ishkur. Because generally when we see storm gods, we see them holding a lightning bolt. That is a forked item, kind of looking like a weapon that you might use to attack with. Whereas this figure is only associated with a bow and a spear. So it's very hard to guess. The lion might actually be another deity in this image. The lion is often associated with the goddess Inanna. The lion is associated with other deities as well, of course, but it is most closely related to Inanna. Occasionally, in images, we see the deity replaced with a symbol representing that deity. So this could be the goddess Inanna positioned next to a deity that she is associated with. Or it could be that the lion is associated with this particular male deity with the bow, and that it is a symbol identifying him. Again, we don't have enough information to tell. I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and we will be taking a look at quite a number of other